How does what you see here today at the London 2012 Games vary from where you were in 1988?
Well, a number of different ways, really. I mean, obviously the equipment's a bit more refined. All the athletes are full-time now, and it wasn't like that always in our day. So there's the big differences. Interestingly enough, with the Star, the equipment is almost identical. I raced the Star again this year for the first time a few weeks ago, and really it feels just the same.
And it's quite an old boat, the Star, isn't it? It's been around a very long time, but they still seem to be looking for speed edges.
Yes, and it's like everything. You're always looking for the tiny, tiny differences that will make the difference between gold and silver or whatever. And you know, you see it very much with the cyclists. Been watching that a lot, and they have this sort of director of you know, minor improvements, and sailing has become like that as well. And each different class has its different set of minor gains you can make.
And you're actually down here to watch the racing today,
Yep.
but how does the atmosphere in Weymouth feel, and what was it like in 1988 in Seoul?
Well, we just walked through the town to get here, and there are lots of crowds coming to watch today, which is unique in Olympic sailing. It's never ever happened before where there's actually been a viewing area, so I think there's much more buzz in the town. When we were doing our Olympics, there was lots of buzz at the marina, at the venue itself, but outside there wasn't so much because we're hundreds of miles away from Seoul.
And Bryn, if I could come to you now, we've been talking this morning with our team nutritionist, and I was thinking about, you know, we have a team psychologist, the physiologist, the physios, the masseuse. Who was behind your team in 1988?
Well, prior to the Games, it was very much our own show. You know, we were self-funded. And then we moved into the Games mode, and yes, we did have physios, team doctors, which I like to make use of, nutritionists to get up body weight and down whatever. But the rest of the programme, predominantly, we were uncoached. We had a support reserve crew, but apart from that, it was our show.
And how would you prepare for a day on the water at the Olympic Games? What would be part of your routine?
Very simple. I mean, it was you try and keep the same routine every day, so it's nice and regular. I mean, we get up, eat, down to the regatta site, get through security, which is something you don't get normally at any other regatta you face. Prepare the boat, get it in the water. Mike would go off to the weather briefing, talk about the weather options with the Met guys. Come back, we talk over what we're going to do, get watered up, get dressed, out, race, come back to the dock, boat out, mast out every day, so it was checked, and then prepare for the next day, and then have some downtime.
And sailing's changed, we think.
But it was one race a day. That's and it was 2:15 to 2.5 hours a day. So there were big races. The length of the course was probably twice as long as it is now. But there were 7 races.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking this morning that the Star run is 15 minutes, which is really unusual in Olympic sailing. How do you think the Olympics, with these shorter races compared with those massive ones you used to, and the medal race, does that change what we do tactically on the water?
I think it changes. You know, it's become more nip and tuck at certain points. I mean, you're not, you know, the distance across the course when you're going upwind from a hard left and hard right is half the distance. So, you know, it's less, probably a little bit less boat speed, even on marginal speed. You've got more room we had more room to move, but boat speed in relatively the same fleet size was very important. You've got to have the boat speed to work.
And Mike, just coming back to you, you've done a lot of sailing in Weymouth. It used to be our trials venue where we used to do all of our regattas in the build-up as a team. What are the conditions going to be like out there for the sailors?
They'll be absolutely fabulous. I mean, I'm a huge fan of Weymouth as a sailing venue. I think it's the best place in the UK to hold regattas for a number of reasons. But today it's you know, sort of fairly strong southwesterly, again a good sort of force 4 to 5, sun shining, which is nice. And the big thing in Weymouth to me is the waves. The wave pattern is really, really great for sailing on, and we've seen that every day so far, where downwind it's just fabulous sailing.
It is, and we've got several different course areas, and all the fleets are rotating around those course areas. What kind of differences will we be looking on those areas, and how will that affect the racing?
Oh, well, just enormous differences, actually. You know, if you look at the Noath, it's very much inshore under the harbour wall. So flat water, very gusty, very shifty. You go into the harbour itself, so the wind won't be quite so broken up. A bit choppier, and actually close to the harbour wall. And southwesterly, you get a bit of backwash off the harbour wall. So at the bottom of the course, it can be very, very choppy, very difficult sailing. And then you go outside onto the outer courses, and you're much more in open sea, bigger, sort of longer-lasting shifts, but not quite so dramatic. And of course, much, much bigger waves, which makes the downwind sailing great fun.
Brilliant. And Ailey, if I can come to you, you're just embarking out on your Olympic sailing career. How much of an inspiration is it to have these guys, and how much can you take from them? Or is it just, yeah, Dad, whatever?
No, often don't get much chance to talk to Dad because we're away so much, but like we sat on the train today and it was just amazing. I love listening to it and I love hearing it, and every time I talk about it I get even more fired up, and it's just inspiring. It makes me want to do it even more. It just lights something inside me that I've got to do it, I've got to get there.
And you said the 470, you crew the 470 dinghy. Hannah and Saskia starting out today. First of all, can you imagine what it's like for them? Every other class has started. The regatta's been going for nearly a week now. What must be going through their heads today?
I think they'll have taken a bit of inspiration from watching people get medals. I think that would have been nice to just sort of get you going a bit. But I think they'll be nervous. They'll be really worried, I reckon. I hope they don't put pressure on themselves because of that.
And they come in as world champions as well, don't they?
Yeah.
How do you rate their chances, and who do you see as their main competition?
I think they've got a few, don't they? Depends. I'd say if it stays this windy, New Zealand's a big problem, but they're really close in the top 5, 10 in the women's fleet, aren't they? And just depends who performs on the day, but I'd say they have a really good chance. I'd put them as one of the favourites for definite.
Thank you, Ailey, Bryn, Mike, for coming in today. Thank you.